everyone, welcome to Better Us Now podcast. We are three athletic vegan girls from Japan aiming to make our earth a better place with happy animals and healthy humans. このポッドキャストではスポーティーなビーガンガールズ、萌え、アスカ、カホの3人が環境社会問題、ビジネスフィットネス、健康瞑想、生理、子育てなど様々な話題や課題について力強く美しく輝きたい女性たちのためにホットな情報をビーガン目線でお届けします。 Better Earth makes better us. Hi everyone, in today's episode we welcome Joanna Hellier and Max Hellier. They are also known as co-founder of Root the Future, the biggest plant-based and sustainability community in Thailand. Root the Future focuses on a range of activities and content that promote a sustainable lifestyle, emphasizing the importance of a plant-based diet for the longevity of our health and the health of the planet and the animals we share it with. They advocate, educate, and entertain using various forms of content, including photo and video content, articles, social campaigns, and events, all dedicated to sustainable living. Both Joanna and Max have been vegan for a long time. They also provide a guide to vegan and vegan-friendly hotels, restaurants, and even plant-based products available in convenience stores. 日本語でポッドキャストを聞かれている皆さんにお知らせです。今回のエピソードは英語でお届けいたします。日本語で聞かれたい方は次回のエピソードをチェックしてみてください。Alright, let's dive into the conversation with Joanna and Max. Enjoy!
Here we are with another English edition of Better Earth Now. And we have two lovely guests, Joanna and Max from Root the Future. Welcome, guys, and thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
So we'd love to just get started and kind of know your backgrounds. Tell us, specifically about your journey with veganism, and if we can just, kind of understand how you became who you are.
As you were vegan first, maybe you should start.
Okay. So actually, when I left home when I was younger, I moved to Sydney, I moved out of home, and my roommate was vegetarian, and I'd always loved animals, and she was saying she's vegetarian because she loves animals, and for me, I was cooking for myself, and at that moment I thought, why am I not vegetarian? So I turned vegetarian when I moved out of home, which would have been 15 or 16 years ago.
50 years ago.
Thanks for that. And then a couple of years later, actually, a different friend took me to this kind of meetup, and it was actually a vegan meetup, and they had food and stuff there. And the speaker started talking about dairy and how it also impacts animals, and it didn't even occur to me that was a thing. So it took me a couple of weeks, but after that I went vegan, and that was 13 years ago now, I think. And then a few years later I met Max, and one of the first things we spoke about was how much he loved animals, and I probably shouldn't have said this on our first meeting. I was like, you love animals, but you eat them?
Yeah, but it wasn't said in a way that made me sort of back foot a minute. Wait a minute, why are you attacking me? Like, do I feel attacked of my lifestyle, how I'm living it? I didn't at all. It was just sort of done in a way that was very mind shattering. When somebody says something and then at that instant you're almost like, oh, okay, that didn't occur to me. That thought process didn't go through my mind. And it was like that when you said, well, I'm an animal lover, but wait, I still eat them. And I could almost hear it shattering in my mind. But then after a while, you fed me a lot of food, and you won me over through my stomach.
But you also visited a farm in Egypt.
I did, yeah. After we met, I went to Egypt, and I went to, I guess you sort of put a seed in, and I was interested to see what the actual ethical treatment of chickens were. So I went to Egypt, and whilst I was in Egypt, I saw a battery farm, and just the smell the smell of the battery farm was enough for me to just say, okay, no chicken, that's horrendous. I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to go near that. And then when I came back, I was I guess I was still just eating animal products when I got back to England. But there are certain animal products that you don't even realize are animal products.
I think I remember you saying like, I want to be vegetarian now. And then I was like, oh, you know that thing you're eating has animal products in it. And it's like those things you don't even think about, that animal products are in everything.
It's ingrained that they're in every single thing that you eat. So, I'm dipping chips and I'm thinking, great, chips, perfect, vegan, into mayonnaise. And then, oh God, okay, damn it, that's not vegan. I think everybody just goes through this when they start that's sort of that diet transition, lifestyle transition. And he
had a private chef to help
that
him.
Did help. And bearing in mind this was 11 years ago or so, and when I was growing up, I was called Maxi Mouse. I ate a lot of cheese, and I love cheese. So one of the biggest or the hardest hurdles, I guess, for me to be more vegan was cheese. And I tried almost every cheese on the market. And
how long ago was this? This was 11 years
11
ago.
Years ago.
The vegan cheese was not what it is today. It was really tough.
It was like cardboard, like wet, soggy, salty cardboard. It tasteless.
So I tried to, we went shopping for lots of different types of vegan cheeses, and I tried to make lots of different types of cheeses for Max, and then eventually
you won.
She
won.
Yeah,
he won.
Right. And then he was fully vegan, and it was. We also did watch Earthlings together. I'd seen it previously, and I was like, I can watch it again, so we can watch it together. And it was awful, but
it's enough to hear,
life-changing.
It's enough to hear about these anecdotal stories, but actually seeing it, actually being persuading yourself rather than having somebody else persuade you that's the biggest thing.
Just like being witness to that. And it's like one of the hardest. I remember the first time I watched Earthlings, it was like one of the hardest things. I forced myself to watch the whole thing. And then also watching it a second time with Max, like you need to see, it's just something that everybody should see. Like if animal products are something you want to continue eating, watch that.
Maybe even see these things regularly. It's good to sort of remind yourself why you're doing it. Yeah. I mean, that's a path. Sorry for the long-winded answer.
No, it's great. It's good to hear. So basically Joanna was brainwashed by her roommate, and then you were brainwashed by Joanna. Great. It's good.
A chain of brainwashing.
Very effectively. And then we all effectively joined the vegan cult.
Now you're in the cult and you signed in blood to never leave. Okay, great. I actually should be careful. And hopefully this will be translated as well, that there isn't as much sarcasm in Japan. So when it gets translated into Japanese, hopefully they'll explain that this is sarcasm of me talking about brainwashing. But taking you back to those early years, even though things have changed, if you can think about the things that are the most applicable to now, what were some of the challenges, if you remember? Was it about finding certain foods? Was it about telling friends? Was it about talking to family? Was there education that you needed to do to understand things more? What were the biggest challenges that you felt in your early days, months, let's say first year?
I think for me, understanding, because I feel like there's so much kind of supposed nutrition information out there, and really society on the whole, like the way we talk about nutrition is just like there's nothing factual or scientific behind it.
Considering doctors only get 4 to 8 hours of nutritional training throughout their entire career, throughout their entire training, I mean, that's telling in itself of how bad.
But because of that kind of lack of just general knowledge about nutrition, which I didn't have, I didn't know that I had to be eating tons more than I was before, because obviously vegan foods are lower in calories, which is great because you can eat more and then you can have more nutrients and you can have more fiber. But I didn't realize the size of my plate needed to increase. So I think that's something that I think I see a lot of people struggling with when they start. They say they feel tired, and they automatically assume it's because they're missing animal products, when actually they just need to be eating more. And that's something that I feel like was applicable to me back then, and is just something we see every day. Like that's just something, that's one of the main things I would tell somebody when they first go vegan, is just to make sure you're eating enough. Because that's definitely what I struggled with to start with.
Hey, what an amazing thing to be able to do as well, not have to limit the amount that you eat and just eat until you are full. That's incredible. But if you do that with animal products, you fill up on oil and fat,
and you miss a bunch of nutrients as well. Doing that stuff.
And then that's why all these diseases start to occur. For me, I think it's that interpersonal relationship with friends and family. I think that's it's very difficult to approach the topic without seemingly like you are attacking others, other people's lifestyle choices. So if I say, okay, guys, for Christmas or for other holiday celebrations where I'm with my family together and we're all eating together, I would obviously have to eat something different to them, because a lot of the holiday traditions in England consist of animal products and animal foods. So it's me having to then say, oh, I need something different, or I need to create something different. That is difficult, but then having to justify why you are doing that is even harder.
It almost feels like you need to be taking the piss out of yourself or being really serious. There's like no normality with like choosing vegan food at like family occasions. You need to like make a joke. It almost feels like you need to make a joke of it, which doesn't feel right. Or you need to explain and justify yourself and then go into the whole thing, which just can be exhausting. But
especially as you're saying the same thing over and over. And there are certain educational topics that are ingrained in us. Protein, you need to get this amount, you need to get this amount of nutrients.
You need milk for calcium, those kind of things.
It's in advertising, throughout marketing our entire lives. So all of our friends and family are indoctrinated into this.
But I think one thing to notice is if somebody's actually asking because they're interested and they don't want to make fun of you, that's a really good opportunity to like just talk about your reasons, because especially with family, if people are actually interested and they want to know your reasons, maybe over time they will understand your reasons. And for me, I've seen, like, for example, when I first went vegetarian, my family were very supportive. And then when I went vegan, they were like, oh, this is weird. Like, and over time, I think maybe it was 4 years ago, so 9 years after I went vegan, my mum actually went vegan. So now the family dynamic is totally different, but after 9 years of, discussing my reasons and her seeing me thriving on this diet,
I think it's about logic.
She made the switch,
It's about logic.
So Moya only needs to keep trying for 6 more years. And
I mean, my sister did go vegetarian as well, but it was only a couple of years afterwards. But she's not fully vegan yet. But we still got time. But that only took a couple of years.
Well, what I really love, what I almost wish I had started with, although I love, because your starts with veganism are things that maybe our audience, has heard similar stories, but definitely with Root the Future, it's going to be really fascinating for the audience to hear about this. So can you tell us about Root the Future, the activities you do? Please, license to brag. Tell us about the big things that you've done, what you've accomplished. We'd really love to hear, a kind of general intro, but then also the highlights of what you've been able to do.
Can I jump in first? Because it's very interesting when we talk about Root the Future, because we do so many different things to try and influence the way, or to try and use these logical fun activities to try and get people to try and change their lifestyle. It's very difficult to explain what we do, but we can explain it's obvious why we do it, but maybe we'll just try and explain the types.
Let's start from the beginning.
How long do we have?
Sorry, I'm sorry to cut in. I just want to say that the reason why this is also so we really want to get is you guys really inspired us for the activities that we do. so much of what we do with U2 for UQ and also with Better Earth Now is based on a lot of the advice that you guys had given us.
Awesome.
So that's why to us it's really important that we share this because it was very moving and inspirational for us, and it's kind of our North Star of where we've been aiming for
That's very flattering.
Yeah,
thank you.
So I'd really love our audience to know, because they're also maybe in different parts of Japan and different parts of the world, and they may also get inspired by some of what you do.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you, that's very kind.
Okay, go. You got this.
Actually, I mean, before we started Root the Future, we did slowly start kind of integrating. I think the longer you are vegan, the more passionate you become, and the more it becomes part of like what your drive,
identity.
The more you learn about climate change and health and animal advocacy, the more you want to shout about that. So slowly over the years, we started doing more and more and using like the skills that we had to kind of promote the message. And then in 2020, we've been in the very lucky situation that we were able to start Root the Future. And we had some great support, so we were able to just go fully into it and do it full time. So when we started, obviously, our expertise was kind of in marketing and video production. So the initial thought was, right, let's use the time in 2020 when everyone was on their phones to capture people and during COVID, and talk about the reasons why sustainable lifestyle and plant-based food are kind of important for the future of our planet, our health, the animals. So we started off at the very beginning just kind of doing YouTube videos and news articles and just sharing as much as we can. We basically just wanted to share the type of things that we would want to see and try to build a community so that people in this region feel supported and know that there's other people around, and so everyone can stay up to date. And then we actually just kind of fell into all the other things that we did. So 3 months after we started, one of our friends was hosting an adoptable cat cafe for stray animals that needed a shelter. And we said, how about we partner up? We can do a sustainable market next to the adoptable cat cafe. We can bring people in to maybe adopt cats, and then they can enjoy vegan food and sustainable products and zero waste products at the same time. And we hadn't been running for it was July. We started in May and the market was in July. And this was also during COVID. And the market was full. Like, you could not move. We were like, wow, like this is so amazing to see that this many people are interested in sustainability and vegan food. So that really inspired us. Like, having the community behind us was very inspiring for us. And from then on, we kind of felt like we can, anything that we feel like we would want to see, let's just do it. Let's just do it as much as we can. Like, let's throw ourselves into everything that we can. So from there, we did in October, in our first year, we hosted Asia's biggest plant-based and sustainability festival, which was one of the best and most stressful weekends of my life. But it was just the most amazing thing to see 10,000 people over 2 days come and support these vegan businesses and sustainability and listen to these panel discussions.
And sorry, Joanna, I just want to, because if I remember, was that the one where you had famous musicians and a lot of really, so you guys were able to get these kinds of numbers, not just through your marketing and but also through pulling in some influential non-vegans, if I remember correctly?
So there was some, we collaborated with a lot of people for that festival. So we had some famous musicians. I think the Valentina, I believe she's vegetarian, or at least that way inclined. She was open to that. And a lot of the other people that we brought in were influencers who may be just interested in sustainability or vegetarians. We also had talks from Greenpeace. We had talks from, we had a panel for plant-based vegan celebrities. So they also brought in their people.
Like cooking demonstrations, tofu workshops.
And then we also were able to partner with the people who gave us the location to do the venue also did some great marketing for us. So the key to that was really collaborations and also no sleep. That was
that helps. That helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the traditional marketing strategies of press releases, contacting local press, contacting print media as well as digital media, and just making sure that you have enough content that they can share was very important.
I think we were also very ambitious with how big we wanted it to be, so we were able to just push it like as far as we could. Like we pushed it as far as we could with the space that we had to have as many vendors, and also it shocked us. Like when we first launched it, there were I think we had 67 vendors, all vegan and sustainable products and food and stuff. And after we launched it, we had 100 more say, can we come and be a part of this? So just seeing, like, once you put yourself out there and you kind of do this, you really see how much and how many people are a part of this.
Well, also that's a very important thing for big businesses to see. If they can see 10,000 people going over 2 days, in their business minds, they think, wow, that's a big consumer base.
Yeah.
I should create a product to capitalize on that consumer base, which is brilliant. And that is kind of what happened the festival was a type of catalyst for lots of large businesses who contacted us afterwards, and they started to produce their own plant-based food. And obviously that helps everything and everybody, because that increases the accessibility, reduces the cost because they're all sort of competing with each other, so they want to try and lower that cost. So really showing the amount of people that are interested was one of the most beneficial things.
And we also did run Thailand's first plant-based food awards at the same time as the festival, which was another stupid thing for us to do because there's only 2 of us at that point. But it was a really great thing to have those 2 things together, because we were able to celebrate the winners of the plant-based food awards at the festival. So those 2 events were kind of our first things that we did with Read the Future. And from then we just did a bunch of things that we wanted to see. So we partnered with a magazine, Tatler Thailand, and we did a vegan and sustainable fashion shoot, which was really fun and a great way to reach a whole new audience. We partnered with the BTS, which is like the main
mass transit
system, SkyTrains, and they gave us these huge billboards to promote sustainable living and plant-based food. We were able to produce videos for that. We did some mangrove planting. What else did we do?
We helped open a shop.
We opened a vegan store in Thailand's biggest mall, and we brought in all of the local and small businesses to finally be in a proper kind of retail space, which was a great spring platform for them. I'm trying to think of
I want to just stop you guys just for there, because I know you guys have done so. One of the things that I've been amazed is one is that this theme of go big and do anything and everything that you can. Another one that is really interesting for a lot of the audience especially is this aspect of how can you so for example, in our case, we're in a rare situation where we have a company that kind of runs on its own, and that fuels a lot of what we do. And so it's very unfair, I think, if we expect everyone else to do that. And you have a lot of, I would say actually the majority of our friends that really care about the environment and the food impact, they don't necessarily have the resources to just put into an effort. But you got, and then I've seen other groups where when they do that, somehow they lose, the thing that we say is, hey, if they're doing something that's charitable, but that's also where they get their rent and beer money, sometimes it can not necessarily be the best outcome. And you can kind of see how the people behave, and you can see, where they everything comes from charity, but then they act a little bit like Elon Musk, or somebody who's just like who's wealthy, that's like pictures of them at champagne brunches and things like that. One of the things that I really think that you guys are a good lighthouse for people to look at is you're able to generate this showing. You mentioned 10,000, where you've got the number of people, it's showing businesses that this is somewhere to go, and yet you're doing it in a way that also that it's not just that you're just using all of your funds and running out. You're able to also be part of that, and I just really love the way that you guys are able to do that?
Yeah, so I think that we were quite lucky, to be honest, but there's three things that kind of helped us to start with, and
number one is she's a fantastic producer. and, honestly, and the budgeting and everything is just so unbelievably detailed, down to like pens. No joke.
But I think that one thing that we were lucky with when we started with was we had kind of one supporter who's kind of said, I'll support you for the first year and then you have to go on by yourself. And that really helped us because it enabled us to figure out like, how are we able to continue to do this? And it also taught us that like we're on a shoestring budget for everything we do. So we do everything ourselves. And like just learning bits about every part of like what we're doing and enabling us to do that ourselves and like helped us to save a lot of money, and that was a really big part of it, just doing everything ourselves.
We wear a lot of hats now. I mean, from now and from 3 years ago, sorry, with strange analogy, but with the hats, I guess that probably won't translate well. But what I mean is, you know, our background is marketing, content creation, but now that entails website building, illustrations,
event management,
production, like there's
graphic design.
There are so many different things that go into this now that it's great to be able to lean on what you know and then learn what you don't.
And I think that although it's really hard work, if you're so passionate about that, it just doesn't feel the same as it would if you were hard working for somebody else. But I think we were really fortunate that we had someone supporting us for the first year. And then I also think it's this very unusual, valuable thing to be able to talk about climate change when we're talking about vegan food, because when you talk about sustainability or climate change, big companies or people who will collaborate with you or give things to you for free. So we were able to use a huge cinema in Bangkok for free. We were able to use our festival space for free. Like, people are willing to support you, big businesses, when you're talking about sustainability. Because, I mean, I don't know whether the businesses like also care about sustainability, but at least they want to make it look like they care.
Yeah,
so it's CSR for them, and that's a really valuable thing to capture big businesses and collaborate with them with, and it saves you a bunch of money so you can do more.
Even if it's some exec standing in a picture with his thumbs up, they can share that to their board members as look at this sustainable initiative that we helped produce. And that's great.
But it's very valuable to be able to talk about sustainability and food together and have that support from big businesses. But I do have to say, you know, like, it's always a struggle for like raising funds. Like after the first year was a dream because we didn't have to worry so much, but it's always tough raising money because you don't want to be raising money only to do the things for the people you raise the money for. Otherwise it's a pointless, endless cycle. So trying to balance being able to do the activities that you feel like are important and are valuable at the same time as juggling a way to raise funds is really tricky. And we've never found one avenue for that. We're constantly looking at different ways, and our funds come in from different people in different ways. Grant money is like, if you're looking to raise money to start with, I think grants are a really good place to start because you're able to kind of start from the beginning and not necessarily have to offer anything other than value and impact. So I think that's a really good place to start. But yeah, it's always a struggle, and forever will be.
We did sort of the types of, I mean, if you're looking for examples as well, the types of ways that we sort of maintain growth, I guess, or survival, is primarily events. Like, there are certain events that we do that we can get sponsors to help us do that, and then we say, okay, well, it's going to cost X amount of money, and then we have to build in our time for the next event to make sure that we have enough time to figure out how we're going to bring in the next amount of money, because you do need to make sure, this is a very important step, is that you have to build in your own time, not just cover.
Yeah, because no one can live with no salary. Like, if you're, especially if you're doing it full time, or if you're putting in a ton of work, you have to be able to cover your costs because you need to still pay your rent and pay your bills.
These big projects are very important. We've also gone through avenues of doing sort of paid promotions for content.
We haven't done much of that though, because we don't really want to do that. Otherwise, it's just kind of a means to an end. You know, you're just covering that time to do that promotion.
Unless we really feel like this product or this brand is really deserving of a promotion, then we can contact them and say, look, we're planning to do this. Something that we do anyway, rather than, and then we can say, you know, we can do it for this amount, and then we can make sure that we have that to then grow for month by month.
But yeah, there's not one answer for funding. I wish there was.
Yeah.
No, but it's amazing because you have a lot of people that they can't even conceive doing things at a larger scale. And obviously, yeah, that must have been a huge advantage to have that first year, but still, they don't think in terms of grants from companies that want to embrace sustainability, or companies that might want to have their logo at, you know, you've done massive running events and music events, and you know, you rode your bikes, you know, across so, and you know, and I work with bicycle brands, so I could think, oh, I could see where a bicycle brand might want to you know, provide the bicycle, or maybe provide you know, the whole kit, and you know, but it's just it's great that you guys have been able to do such big events, and you know, continuing going, and also your energy level is consistently high, not meaning that, oh yeah, you know, hey, you're eating plant-based food, and so that but also just your you guys both beam with optimism and focus on the things that you can do. And so I think it's a good model for people to hear about. So for the audience, how should they follow your Root the Future account on Instagram, and we can share other links and things like that. I'll just throw out here also that if people have other questions, that coincidentally Joanna and Max will be in Japan in about 10 days, and here for about I guess like a week or so, and that includes not only here in Okinawa, where a lot of our audience is, but also in Tokyo. So we're not fishing for free meals. We'll actually, but if somebody wants to ask a question or meet up for a coffee, it's really good timing, because hopefully this airs really soon, and they'll maybe be here at that time. So, any last things you want to tell us about? Any upcoming projects you want to share, or anything, or books you've read recently, or you know, anything you think that the last shares?
Well, I mean, maybe we can share about we're currently working on 2 documentaries simultaneously, because we like to do 2 projects at the same time always. I don't know why we do this to ourselves.
One impact bumps the other.
But we're currently working on 2 documentaries, so I hope that's something that we can launch in the next, you know, 6 months. So stay tuned for that. We have 1 series and 1 film that's coming.
Is that all you're going to say?
That's all I'm going to say. Just a quick teaser.
Yeah, wonderful. And well, we really appreciate you guys so much. It's had major impact on what we do, and we're really looking forward to seeing you, and hope that some people in the audience can share that as well. Obviously, they're normally in Thailand, so if you go to Thailand and you can look them up, then great. But otherwise, if you're here in Japan, you know, please give us a ping in the next you know, couple weeks, and hopefully we can meet up for a coffee or some meals in Tokyo or Okinawa. And thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
You guys are amazing.
Always great to talk to you guys.
So good.
So you have listened to the conversation with Joanna and Max. I really hope they inspired you in many ways. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a rating and a follow on the podcast platform you're listening to. It means so much to us, and it will help the others to find this podcast easily. We also have social media like Instagram and Facebook. so don't forget to check it out for announcements of giveaways and events and more. You will find the links to Root the Future's Instagram account and their website on the show notes. So check them out if you want to know more about them and their truly amazing work. It will also support them to continue what they do. If you have any questions, feedback, and guest requests, don't hesitate to email us to this very address, betterearthn@gmail.com. Last but not least, I would like to thank our guests, Joanna and Max, and most importantly, thank you so much for listening, and see you next time. Bye bye!